Hi everyone, and welcome to today's Wednesday webinar. Today's webinar will review how to get prepared and ready for July trade shows. Here today we'll review prep steps that will make your trade show season more profitable than ever. This webinar will help you prepare for trade shows by providing a checklist of features and settings needed to maximize your selling. iPad prep will be covered, as well as some key features that increase sales and speed up appointment times. Some topics that will be covered today are iPad prep steps, ATS inventory and line sheets, scanners and credit card processing, and validation best practices and buyer information. So the first item here is iPad prep steps. So show season is upon and it's one of our busiest times of the year. It's so crucial that all of our brands are aware of our iPad and the best practices to ensure success for your show season. So a few tips that you guys should follow. The first one is before heading to your show, you want to make sure that you've downloaded the latest version of the app from iTunes. So you can search for the New Order app directly in the iTunes store, and you can install it and log in using the same credentials as you would on the New Order web application. Updates will appear frequently in the App Store, so you want to make sure that you're always operating on the newest and most up-to-date version to ensure the best quality is achieved. So here you'll see in this screenshot of the iPad, the application version, and you can always quickly find out what version you're operating on and if it's the most up-to-date by clicking this New Order symbol in the upper left-hand corner. We also recommend that you guys work online, especially now that we have payment processing. It's critical to work online only. I do want to point out that you can still use and work off of the New Order iPad app even if you're offline. All of your updates will be saved locally on the device and synced as soon as you get internet connection and go back online. A couple best practice tips in terms of connecting the New Order iPad app. To know if you're online, you're going to want to look for the icon in green showing that you are connected. So this signal here up at the top, this green Wi-Fi signal, shows that you're connected to the internet. When you're online, orders and recommendations will sync automatically to your web account as soon as they're created. When you're offline, that same icon here at the top, that Wi-Fi signal, will be gray to show that you're not connected. When you've been working offline, you'll have to perform a sync whenever you regain Wi-Fi connection. And if there's no Wi-Fi connection, you'll see that this icon here will be red, letting you know that you have no connection, and we recommend at that time that you work offline. The next best practice tip for the iPad is to periodically reload it to ensure the most updated information. So you'll always want to refresh your brand's information, and to do that, you'll want to make sure you're logging out and logging back in. So just as another quick reminder, if you're logging into the New Order iPad app for the first time, you will need to be online, and you'll be guided through a three-step process to load your brand data and imagery. Anytime you log in after that initial login on the same iPad, you'll skip that screen and you'll go right into the app. If you're spending the day in your trade show booth, you'll definitely want to make sure that you load your brand ahead of time in your office or in your hotel. Whenever you have internet connection, you'll want to make sure that you're going ahead and loading before the show. You'll constantly want to sync your iPad whenever there's a lull in appointments at the show. To sync your iPad, you'll click on this cloud icon here at the top. You'll get an overview. If you're working offline, all of your orders or drafts will live here in pending. If you're working online, everything's automatically syncing, so it will live here in history. And in order to constantly sync your iPad, you'll just go ahead and click Send Unsent Items. So definitely want to sync whenever you have a lull in appointments. And just to reiterate, before each day, you'll want to log in and refresh your iPad. This will ensure that you have the most up-to-date product and customer data, and this process is recommended to follow each morning during each show. Whether you're working online or offline, the New Order app is operating on the data it loaded when you first logged in. So we do this so you're not constantly waiting for the app to update while you're in the middle of an appointment or if you have slow Wi-Fi. So to refresh, you'll want to tap the menu icon to the left of all products. So these three little lines, that's your menu icon. And this drop-down menu will appear. You'll want to make sure that you're tapping log out to log out of the iPad, and then go ahead and log back in to pull in the new data that may have changed while you were using the app. So following all of these combined processes will definitely eliminate issues and ensure that your brand is ready for success at the show. So another way to ensure that you guys are successful at the show is to utilize ATS inventory and ensure that you're leveraging line sheets. It's extremely important to have your immediate inventory loaded prior to your show to ensure that you're selling off what you own, you're decreasing selling mistakes, and you're streamlining your appointments. So if I jump here into our admin section of New Order, you can upload your inventory data in admin under inventory. So it can be done by dragging and dropping our template into admin here. And one of the great features of New Order is that you can tie in this inventory information into your line sheets. So I'm sure all of you are aware and familiar with creating line sheets and know that they're a huge advantage to your business. So we definitely recommend creating line sheets with ATS information, and that ATS information is always available here in this same section in admin under inventory. If you scroll to the bottom of the page here, you'll see you can download an ATS report with images. So you can export this information here in admin, and you'll want to create a line sheet based off of this ATS information and create line sheets that are driven by delivery. Creating line sheets in that way, so including ATS and set up by delivery, will give you the tools to tell both your reps and your buyers how to approach your line during your trade show appointment. I also want to remind you that you can leverage email marketing with these line sheets by sending an email blast to your wholesale customers, incentivizing them to shop on your New Order portal, both pre and post show. This is something that we've seen great success with our brands, not only during trade show season, but again, another great best practice is to utilize those line sheets both prior to your show, during your show, and after your show as well. So the next item here that we're going to review so that you can be ready to go at your trade shows are scanners and credit card processing. Barcode scanning is something that is very popular during trade show season. Our barcodes allow reps to scan samples or line sheets, which in turn make it faster and easier than ever to recommend and order products on the iPad app. All you need to get started with this feature is an iPad and a Bluetooth scanner, and then using the app is the easiest part. So just in case any of you are unfamiliar, if I jump back to our iPad share here, you'll see this little barcode scanning icon right in between the Wi-Fi signal and the sync button. So when you're going to scan your items, you'll want to make sure you're in barcode scanning mode using this little barcode scanning symbol on the iPad. So when it comes to trade shows, you must test everything before you go, and I can't reiterate that enough. The most important thing you need to do is to test the actual iPads, the scanners, and the barcodes that you'll be using at the shows at least 1 week before you plan to use them. Definitely have come across issues with brands at our shows who aren't able to get their scanner to sync or pair to the iPad, or their barcodes aren't working. So you definitely want to make sure that you're reaching out to your account managers and our support team and that you're testing in advance. You'll also want to make sure that each scanner is only paired with one iPad. So mixing iPads and scanners can cause the scanners to not pair properly with the iPad. So when you're testing, make sure you have one iPad connected to one iPad. You'll also want to make sure that you have the most current version of the New Order app loaded. So again, you can double check by clicking that icon here in the upper left-hand corner of the iPad. We recommend using, always recommend using the version from the Apple App Store, and that you're checking to make sure you have the latest download. If you have any other questions or need any assistance with barcode scanning, or you want to get set up prior to the show, definitely reach out directly to your account managers or our support team, and they can get you set up right away. Credit card processing is also a new feature, and it's very popular during trade show season as well. This function allows you to capture credit card details from your customers on the iPad at the time of the order. So payments are a little different on the iPad, so we do want to quickly walk through how to manage this information. So to enter a payment on the iPad, you'll want to go to the orders page. So you can always navigate to the orders page again using these three little lines as your navigation menu and selecting orders. So you'll navigate to the orders page. On the orders tab, you'll tap the icon on the right side, so that little dollar symbol icon, and you'll go ahead and enter the credit card information. You can always choose also to charge the card immediately or later. As a reminder, it's important to note that your iPad must be online to collect and process credit card information. So again, you can work offline on the iPad. We highly recommend working online if you can, and that's especially because you need to be online to utilize our credit card processing functionality. And just another quick reminder about this feature, New Order does not save credit card information on the iPad. So that's another thing that you want to make note of when you're using credit card processing on the iPad at your shows. So the last item that I definitely want to review here and make sure everyone is aware of is that, and this might quite possibly be the most important piece here, is that you'll need to validate your New Order portal to ensure that you're prepared and ready for your trade show. So the next item here is validation, best practices, and buyer information. So you'll need to validate that your portal is ready to go. It's a key component in being ready for these shows. What I mean by this is you need your portal up to date, and you need to ensure that all information needed for your show is living within the iPad. So you'll want to make sure that all products, especially including your most recent collection, is uploaded to your portal. You want to make sure that all colorways of all of your products are uploaded to your portal, and all corresponding images are uploaded for each product and colorway as well. You want to make sure that all prices have been uploaded and that all prices are accurate. So oftentimes, brands will think that there's an error on the iPad, there's an incorrect price. Those are things you need to validate ahead of time. Make sure that you're on the web app, you're making sure that all of your information is up to date. You'll also want to make sure that while you're validating all of the content, all of the information within the iPad, that you're creating those line sheets as well. So creating them by delivery, making sure they include that ATS information, and setting them up in a way that makes sense for your reps to sell at that show and make the appointments at the show more efficient. And lastly, you'll want to make sure that all contacts are loaded beforehand. So if you know you have an appointment with a specific retailer or a specific buyer, you'll want to ensure that they're in your portal ahead of time to make sure you're saving time while at the show. So our team is often on site at all of these trade shows and able to assist with any questions or issues. Missing products, prices, buyers, and so on are very common, which is why it's vital that your team double checks and confirms your portal is updated prior to the show. If any of you need any help uploading any content prior to the show, last minute getting in a new season or getting in those images, definitely reach out to your account managers and our support team, and we'll make sure that you're getting assistance with those uploads. If you guys have any questions just in general about additional best practice tips for trade shows, feel free to reach out. Thanks so much for your time, and we look forward to speaking with you again next week.